Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to Time Agent Series 3 Episode 2 First Contact Vlog. This time round we see Mortis join Robin at Unit HQ. We see how they escaped being killed by the flower aliens. And they have a look at a dead one. And they're examining it up a bit. And they find that it's been kind of it's been experimented on, and something is going on. Something strange is going on. At the end of the episode, Mortis then discovers that the CCTV footage of Robin's team being killed by supposedly him, and then Robin has him exactly where he wants him, ready to kill. Meanwhile, Agent Liam meets up with the contact after the events of the previous day where Tobias was kidnapped, and so he goes to one of their meetings where they have a talk about the flower aliens, and the team has been killing the flower aliens to set them free. But he doesn't explain why. We'll learn a bit more about that later on in the series. And then they have to fight the authorities. There was a spy, a double agent or something, in the group, and they contacted the authorities. But no arrests were trying to be made. It was a all-out shootout, and eventually Liam, who was not being targeted despite being the #1 criminal, most wanted, then goes and massacres all of them, all the authorities, in an anger rage. To be honest, I would do that too if I was in his shoes. The double agent chose a really terrible time, again, like Hannah in Best Kept Secrets, to come in and intervene. When Liam was trying to find out everything he needs to know, the double agent just fired his gun and said, "We are the authorities, you will not escape arrest." He wasn't waiting to find out what else they knew. I guess not. You would think the authorities would wait, but I guess because this guy works for Vision X, he didn't wait. Oh yeah, and Liam's surprised to discover he works for Vision X despite Tobias saying that they had 5 days to stop Vision X. So, do they know who's in charge, who's not, behind the organisation behind it? Not the person. They're going to find that out, or rather, rediscover. Meanwhile, there's this subplot. Oh yeah, Liam finds this out at the end. He injured a guy, but he hasn't killed him yet. He kills him after getting some more information about who he works for. And a very Children of Earth-esque moment there when, I think it was in episode 2 of Children of Earth, where Gwen is beating up this ambulance driver, getting him to tell her who he worked for, and he had told her the NHS, and then he said the government. Here is the guy saying the government, and then Agent Liam threatens to leave him to die, or he would, if he gave him information, then he would kill him quickly and put him out of his misery. And then he discovers he's working for Vision X, and then puts him out of his misery. Now, as I was saying, subplot. There's there's a pretty weak subplot where this guy called Zach Travis meets this guy called George Hunt. Travis is a former time agent. He was on his way to meet the Contact and the Brotherhood, which is the group. But he was taken out by a flower alien, or flower aliens, and taken to where they all got converted, as we'll see later on in the series. And I think he met the executive, but then he escaped, and he's been on the run since, or at least for the past day or so. Maybe when the executive's back was turned, looking for Tobias. So Travis meets this random stranger called George Hunt whilst on the run, and they're being chased by flower aliens, and Travis has to use George's phone. He has to persuade him to borrow the phone to get in contact with the Contact. There's a great transition, actually, where Travis is saying, said the Contact's name, that's who he's going to contact, and then we see the Contact and Agent Liam at the meeting spot. And then afterwards, it's the two are surrounded by the flower aliens. A little bit of exposition is thrown in for good measure, and it's then revealed that George Hunt, after getting a text, is a member of Vision X. And then he kills Travis after giving him a 5-second countdown, although shooting him after force, proving you can't trust anyone. And we never see Hunt again. We never reference him or Travis, so to be honest, apart from some exposition, these things were completely pointless because these characters never appear or are mentioned again. It's just exposition. So yeah, I think you could have... maybe you lost some information that you might have learnt about a bit later on, or could have been said by other characters. And that's the only thing you would have lost if you'd cut these scenes. And the final kind of plotline going along at this story is kind of four. The main one is Liam meeting the Contact, Robin and Mortis, and the subplot with Travis and Hunt. And then the final one is the villain, the Executive, who has no redeeming qualities, by the way, so he's not going to become a good guy. Or ever was a good guy. We see him under the Egypt necropolis at the point of no return in the pre-credits, before cutting to the present day, which shows him wanting Liam and Mortis caught. Again, as I said in the last one, the last vlog, why didn't you just get Liam whilst he was there? And then again, the authorities didn't go for him here, so is it part of his master plan to wait a few days? If so, why are you wanting them now? Doesn't make much sense. He had the opportunity and he left it in favour of going after Jerry Smith, aka Captain Tobias, who he may or may not have known about, depending on what happens, but whether he knew about Tobias or not is questionable. But really, that should have been his opportunity, and we should have seen Liam try to escape, and then coming full circle back to being the place where he needed to go. Was the place he escaped from. But the scenes with him are great, and there isn't really much exposition talking between characters. He's just there, he does a couple of lines. There's a few talky stuff with the receptionist or with the finance holder, the latter of which, I think the former was, I think Billy's mum or sister. I don't know if he has a sister, to be honest. And the last one is David McLaughlin, who, from Five Who fans, is the shareholder. And yeah, but Christopher Thompson is brilliant as the Executive. As I said, Katrina had been the best villain of the series up to Best Kept Secret, but now into Series 3, we've now got the best villain of the entire show, which is the Executive. Although he hasn't quite got to his peak yet, he's doing a great job in this episode, and I love his vermin and scavengers lines speech midway through, and there's a picture on his wall that kind of hints to something that'll come later on. I won't say what, but if you've seen the series, you know. Also, there's a nice little reference to Jackson Turner from Mortis and Robin. We see him in the cubicle. Mortis left him in the cubicle because he was an idiot, and obviously some point between running off after the phone call and Mortis going onto the train tracks in the last episode. He just hid him in the cubicle and left him there until day 6, where he escaped and helped Robin, which we'll see later in Judgment Day. And that's pretty much it. Alec what's his name? Alec McCradden? We'll find. Well, Alec, Robin's friend at Unit, is briefly seen at the start. So, that's it. I think the acting is great throughout, and it looks pretty great, but it's not quite a perfect episode, but it's still a brilliant one. I would give it a 9 out of 10. I think most of the series is this type of quality. There is a lot of exposition, though. There is a lot of talking, just standing around talking, and whilst the angles are looking good, there isn't that much movement. And unlike the last episode where there was a couple of bits of moving around for the conversation, especially longer ones, the Robin and Mortis one aren't that bad because they're not that long, and there's more stuff. But there's more stuff going on, like Liam meeting the Contact and the Brotherhood. And like I said, I think apart from some exposition, you wouldn't lose much from cutting the George and Zack scenes, because they are pretty pointless besides those bits of exposition. So overall, First Contact is great. Oh, and the shootout scene isn't as violent as I used to think it was, but it's still quite a brutal scene for a Doctor Who fan film series, for the general audience, as in pretty much the wild one, not aimed at children or adults, just general audience. And this is why I said if I was working for the British Board of Film Classification, I would have given this a 12 rating, because of it's quite a violent one. And I only recently, I haven't rewatched I've rewatched each episode of the series, and then I rewatched them again for these vlogs. So the viewing times before these recent ones, last time I saw Downfall, which is before time of recording, but after, but the rewatch for the vlog would be after I would have seen before this goes up, but after I do this one now. So in the one before, which at time of recording is the last one, I decided to raise that one from a PG to a 12, because that was quite a violent one as well in some places. And I want to talk about the pre-titles quickly, if I've got time. Hang on. I just want to quickly talk about the pre-titles for a little bit. This might make it a little bit extra time, but here in the first one we just see it. Most of these pre-titles are set in the past, or past of a character. The first one is set in the present day as well as in the future, and that's pretty much present for Agent Obadiah. But the second one sees the executives past in 1923. By the way, I don't know if they'd have those recording devices in 1923. They might have bigger ones. They might be able to record their voices on big machines. Not big machines, big recording devices. Like in the 1989 Woman in Black film and the 2015 Angel of Death one. 2014-2015. But I don't think they'd have that small compact ones by 1923. Maybe 1993, 1983, maybe even 73. 63 is probably the earliest for that size. And unless it was a tape, no, a tape thing would be about 60s anyway. So I don't think he'd probably have one of those in 1923. And then it cuts to the present day shortly afterwards. And episode 3 we see set in 2009 before cutting to the present day. Episode 4 is the present day. Episode 5 is set in the far future, but it's in the past of Liam, Tobias and Mortis. And episode 6 is the present, starts off in the present day and then quickly cuts to a year. Cuts to about a year beforehand, which is strange because they, as I'll explain in that in Judgment Day's vlog, it's strange that these events of Series 3 are actually taking 6 months after the events of Best Kept Secret, but this pre-title scene says it's a year. So I'm not sure what's happening. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about the pre-titles quickly. I probably added more time for that reason. So, thank you for watching. Tomorrow I will be doing Downfall, the 3rd episode of Series 3. And we'll actually get to see a bit more into the past of the characters. A little bit. I'll see you guys next time.